Guys, have you ever heard about the so-called restricted section of Jurassic World? Yeah, this place is practically a myth on the island because nobody was allowed near it. Not employees, not visitors, no one. Everything was locked up tight, at least until now. Because today, I'm going to tell you what was really in that secret corner. The strangest part is that Isla Nublar had several areas never explored in the movies or even in Jurassic World Camp. Like, we already knew there were an Allosaurus and even a Carnotaurus roaming around, but they never officially appeared to the public, not even in promotional material. In other words, they were hidden right in this forbidden area. But hold on, that's just the tip of the iceberg because what came next is way more insane. And we're going to explore all of this right now in today's video. So jump right in, leave your like, and subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. I'm Eric, and let's go for another video together. Look, officially no document ever revealed what was inside the restricted section. Everything was top secret. But with the clues we have, we can start piecing things together and find out what was hidden in there. The first thing is, Jurassic World never released a full list of dinos to visitors. You can see this in the case of the Carnotaurus and the Allosaurus. We know they existed, but they never appeared in advertisements or anything. So the question is, what other species were they hiding from the public? And here comes the most interesting part. We know they had the DNA of the Giganotosaurus. They even used it to create the Indominus Rex. So think about it. If they had the complete genome stored, why not clone the whole beast? Imagine the hype if a Giganotosaurus was in the park. The evidence points to yes, there was one there. After all, later on, Biosyn Sanctuary got a specimen. And tell me, where do you think it came from? Yep, everything indicates it came straight from the restricted section. But hold on, because the Giganotosaurus isn't the only big name on this list. One of my favorites, and that many fans also bet on, is the legendary Spinosaurus. If you watched seasons 4 and 5 of Jurassic World Camp, you already know there was a Spinosaurus there. And check this out. Those seasons take place in 2016, just 1 year after the chaos of Jurassic World. So it's totally possible that this Spinosaurus was already on the island and was taken later, especially since we know there was a lot of dinosaur smuggling from both Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna. And that's not all. At the visitor center, there's a hologram of the Spinosaurus, which indicates that yes, one was present there. But here's the twist. On the main street of the park, we see a giant Spinosaurus skeleton, and many people thought it was the same one from Jurassic Park 3. But no, it's not. Scott, the showrunner of Camp Cretaceous, confirmed that the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 was still alive in 2016. So that skeleton can't be his at all. So whose is it? Well, we have two options. Either Jurassic World cloned its own Spinosaurus, and it ended up dying from complications, so they decided to display the skeleton for people to take pictures. Or they simply dug up an old fossil and placed it there. Maybe even with the help of Alan Grant and his team. But it doesn't stop there, because there's even more evidence that the Spinosaurus was on Isla Nublar. In a deleted scene from Fallen Kingdom, you can see the beast reappearing right in the middle of the volcano eruption. This pretty much confirms that it was on the island, or at least that they already had plans to officially put it in Jurassic World. And this is crazy because it totally fits what we already know. Masrani Global was hiding many secrets behind the scenes. It wasn't just about creating cute dinos for tourists to take pictures with. They were messing with heavy experiments, especially involving species hybridization. And speaking of hybrids, there's another one that almost appeared in the movie, the famous Stegoceratops. He appears briefly in Dr. Wu's files and in a deleted scene. Okay, I know you're probably asking yourself, what kind of dinosaur is that? Well, the Stegoceratops is basically another one of those Jurassic Frankensteins. A mix of Stegosaurus and Triceratops, plus other mysterious genes that were never revealed. The full list is a secret, just like with the Indominus Rex, which we know even had human DNA mixed in. In early concepts, the Stegoceratops was supposed to stay in Sector 5, which is nothing more than the restricted section. But that scene was cut because otherwise the Indominus would lose its impact as the park's special hybrid. Even so, since it was in Dr. Wu's files, we can say that yes, the Stegoceratops was part of the secret stored in there. And of course, we can't forget him. The Scorpios Rex, or E750 for those who watched the third season of Camp Cretaceous. This monster was so secret that even Masrani himself didn't know it existed. The beast remained locked in stasis in hidden tunnels until it managed to escape. The original idea was for the Scorpios to be the first hybrid presented to the public, but Masrani looked at the creature and said, "Dude, this is way too horrible, no way," and he ordered the project destroyed. But Dr. Wu, instead of obeying, hid the beast in the restricted section. And here comes the bombshell. The Scorpios Rex was actually the first hybrid created, even before the Indominus Rex. This also disproves the old theory that the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 was a hybrid. Nope, the first Frankenstein of the franchise was the Scorpios. Besides him, there was also a reptile that almost no one remembers when talking about the restricted section, the Deinosuchus. You might think, wait, but it never appeared in Jurassic World. True, it didn't appear in the movie, but in Fallen Kingdom, we clearly see a skull of it. And since there was never any promotional material showing this beast, you can tell it wasn't displayed for the public. It was kept secret. To make things even more extreme, or more exciting depending on your perspective, the Deinosuchus DNA was used in hybrid experiments. This indicates that besides stored embryos, at some point there could have been at least one live specimen lost inside the restricted section. Many people believe the Baryonyx was part of the restricted section, but that's not exactly true. In reality, it was displayed on the Cretaceous cruise, so it was already open to the public. Now there's another name that always pops up in fan theories, the Ultimasaurus. That one would be insane. Its idea came from the Chaos Effect toy line, and it was basically a monster hybrid. A mix of T-Rex, Triceratops, Velociraptor, Ankylosaurus, and even Stegoceratops. But hold on, because even though it seems like a distant cousin of the Indominus, the Ultimasaurus was never canon. It's just a fan creation with no real evidence that it ever existed inside the restricted section. The Titanoboa also shows up in fan speculations. This giant snake has appeared in some games, like Jurassic Park Builder and Jurassic World Alive, but officially, it was never considered canon. Even so, the theory is tempting. After all, Dr. Wu used snake DNA in both the Indominus and the Scorpios Rex to give them that heat-sensing ability. So some fans believe he was already eyeing creating a real Titanoboa for the park. Is there any proof of this? Actually, no. But just imagining this monster crawling across Isla Nublar is enough to give you chills. In Camp Cretaceous, Hidden Adventure, which is kind of a soft canon, there's the Tarbosaurus, basically a close cousin of the T-Rex. He even appeared briefly as background art in Fallen Kingdom. Apparently, only one specimen was cloned in Jurassic World, and it was never shown to the public. During the park chaos, the beast supposedly escaped into the wild and even laid some eggs. The problem is that its fate is uncertain. Some versions say it died fighting Rexy, and others say it survived and might have even been taken to the mainland. And it doesn't stop there. Other dinosaurs from Jurassic World Camp, like the Monolophosaurus, could have come directly from the restricted section. And of course, we can't forget the Indominus Rex. She was locked in Paddock 11, deep inside the secret area. The public was misled with that story about her being created in Hammond Laboratory, open to visitors. In reality, the Indominus was born in the Field Genetics Lab, completely secret. And if Masrani lied about that, what else were they hiding in the restricted section? Like, where did the Mosasaurus come from? Could there be other marine reptiles never revealed? Maybe this video needs a part 2. What do you think? Leave a comment, because if you ask enough, there will definitely be one. Don't leave this video before leaving your like and subscribing to the channel. Big hugs, and see you next time. Bye.